So I'm sure you've heard of terminal hair length, either from your hairdresser or online. It's the idea that a person's hair is only going to grow so long and no more, no matter what they do. It's not true. For 32 years, my hair has been stuck between my waist and tailbone. Maybe like a 1 inch difference there. 1 to 2 inches. And now my hair, I just measured it a couple weeks ago. It is 4 feet long. It is almost to my knees. It's about inch and a half from my knees. How did that happen? Well, there are a couple of mistakes people make. First is focusing on growing your hair out from the scalp faster. I made that mistake as well. First of those 4 years, I focused on, using oils and supplements and shampoos and things, try to get my hair to grow faster. And I also stopped having ponytail holders right next to the scalp. Oh, I got a fluff there. And a stray hair, sorry about that. But it really didn't make much difference. And that was a tiny bit of improvement. Not much. I dug in and did the research. Human hair grows at an average of 1/2 inch per month. It's really not much we can do about that. And the oils and supplements and stuff, it might add a millimeter or two extra growth. It's nothing really to work with. So the second mistake is using damaging hairstyles. Again, that's like the hair ties really close to the base of your hair, especially if you're pulling it real tight. Teasing your hair, the messy bun, things like that. Those are very damaging styles because your hair, even if the strands are just barely shifting against each other, like you leave your hair down, that causes a lot of damage. Just the hair shifting against itself damages the hair. So you imagine it constantly rubbing against your shoulders and your collar, and even inside of a hair tie, it's still shifting around it underneath that hair tie, plus shifting against the hair tie. A lot of damage going on. And that's actually what causes the hair to stop seeming to grow. It gets damaged up here, and then by the time it gets down here, it breaks. And it just keeps breaking at the same point because it keeps getting damaged at the same point. Once you learn it, it turns into common sense, but if you don't know, you don't know, right? So, I'm looking at my notes over here, I'm sorry. The third mistake is damaging hair practices. Like using a brush. All those bristles are just tearing at your hair, tearing at the tangles. Use a comb and you can gently work them out. Another damaging practice is combing or brushing your hair while it's wet. A lot of people think that untangles it faster or easier. They don't hear the hair snapping, so they think it's not damaging it as bad. But in fact, the hair strands, when it's dry, they're nice and solid, and then they break and you hear the snap. When they get wet, the protein bonds that hold the strands together, they dissolve. They dissolve when they get wet. So instead of your hair just breaking, it just slides apart. It falls apart. So you're not hearing it snapping because it's not breaking, it's just falling apart. So always comb your hair when it's dry. That will cause the least amount of damage. Few fixes I found help my hair grow a lot faster. I will list them in order from least effective to most effective. The first one is using a silk or satin, either pillowcase or a bonnet. It reduces the friction against your pillowcase because the fibers are so much smoother. You're not getting all that friction that causes the damage, just like the hair rubbing against itself causes damage. Rubbing against that cotton or linen or even synthetic, the fibers of a pillowcase, that could cause damage. And a bonnet also reduces frizz. Because all your hair, it stays. Just like that all night long. It just stays in place. So you're not going to get the frizz, you're not going to get so many tangles. It looks a little funny, it's a little uncomfortable at first, but you get used to it. But again, that's the one that I've seen the least amount of difference from. Fix number 2 is to learn the proper wash cycle for your hair. I know a lot of people like to wash their hair every single day, and that's very damaging for it, especially here in the US where our shampoos are they strip out a lot of the natural oils. We need those natural oils to protect our hair. That's what they're for. That's what God put them for. And it's just not good. So if you're washing your hair every day, try stretching out to every other day. And the day you don't wash your hair, it's going to seem real oily and nasty. But the longer you do it, the more your hair's going to get used to it and adjust. And after a while, you can get like me. I only wash my hair maybe every 2-3 weeks. And it looks good, right? Not oily. A little shiny, but not oily. And so, there's that. Figure out what works for your hair, because everyone's hair is different. Even if you have fine, stick straight hair like me, like I do, you might not be, your hair may be more oily than mine. You may need to wash it more often. Or it might not be as oily and you don't have to wash it as often. I know I've heard of several people that go a whole month between washing their hair. That's just up to you and your hair type. Let's see. Fix number 3 is using wooden combs and a natural bull bristle brush. I have a couple of wooden combs here that I use. These are just simple ones I got off of Amazon. As you can see, I use this one the most. The tips here are getting kind of dark. That's the advantage of a wooden comb, is that it distributes the oils throughout your hair. Picks up the oils from the top, moves them down where they need to be to protect the length. Using wooden combs also reduces frizz, because the plastic combs, they create static electricity, which makes your hair poof and frizz. It's not that great. I mean, I do use a plastic comb sometimes, mainly for this guy down here when I'm doing hairstyles. That rat tail there. There's other ways to make your rat tail, or use the other tools you can use. I'll talk about them later. The boar bristle brush, here's one I use. It is egg brand. I can't. Yeah, it goes this way. I'm sorry. My brain's not working. This is like the 20th time I've done this. But, so the mixed fiber ones, They have these longer synthetic fibers that is supposed to make it so you can use it as a normal brush and a boar bristle brush. It really doesn't work. It just creates more frizz. So a lot of people think that, or they say that using the boar bristle brush makes their hair frizzy. And that's because they're using it wrong. You don't use it like a normal brush to get out all the tangles. You take small sections at a time and just go over the top layer. Like the way I'm doing with my hand. Just go over the top layer. It not only does it redistribute the oils a little bit better than the wooden comb, it also smooths down the cuticles on the hair shafts, which makes the hair stronger, shinier, and reduces frizz. But you need to do it small sections at a time and just go over the top layer. I'm sure you've heard on old cartoons, or maybe even your grandmother used to say that she'd do 100 strokes of the brush in her hair every night before bed. She was using a boar bristle brush. I'm sure it was more than 100. So fix number 4 is to find the right oil for your hair. So when your hair starts getting longer and you go longer between washing it, you'll find the top of your hair looks really nice and moisturized. Then the ends just start looking really dry. You need to oil the ends of your hair because those natural oils aren't going to make it all the way down your hair. And everyone's hair is different. So some people, their hair absorbs the oil really fast, and they need a thicker oil or cream that takes longer to absorb. Or they have to use more oil if they use a thinner oil. Some people, the oil just sits on top of their hair and it makes it look greasy and nasty. So they need to use the thin oils that absorb really quickly. And what I use depends on, my hair is right in the middle. It doesn't absorb too quickly, but the oil doesn't just sit on top of it either. So the oils I use depends on how my hair is doing. And I will only oil about that much. And you can see that the end is kind of folded over. There's about an inch there. It's just rolled over itself. That length, well, sometimes that length. Between here and there. Depends on the day. That's what I need to oil to keep it nice and healthy. Depending on how dry it gets. I got these oils from Sally Beauty Supply. Again, not sponsored. You can find them on Amazon. I have jojoba oil. Bottle's kind of messed up there. Jojoba oil is from a cactus, and it's actually the closest that we can get to our natural skin oils, natural sebum. But when my hair is really dry, I use fractionated coconut oil. This one is Hollywood Beauty. But if you find any fractionated coconut oil or one that's just liquid, that's basically what it is. It's just a liquid coconut oil. It works really great for very dry hair. It's also carrier oil. So the little bit I do use in the oils to try to get my hair up here, I have some thin spots. I put extra oil in there to get it to stimulate new hair growth. It's mostly. What I do is I mix the fractionated coconut oil with a few drops of rosemary. Both of these oils stimulate new hair growth. And I put that in. I massage it in right before bed and first thing in the morning. And as you can see, again, it's not oily. Even in those couple of spots there, it's not oily. because I use the boar bristle brush and the wooden combs, I massage it into the scalp so it really gets into the skin, and then comb through the excess oils throughout my hair. Fractionated coconut oil is just, you know how coconut oil, it gets hard and it's solid, usually 75 degrees and below. It's solid. Fractionated coconut oil, the fatty acid chains have been broken apart, which makes it remain liquid. It makes it remain liquid no matter what the temperature is, unless it's like absolutely freezing. Breaking the fatty acid chains not only keeps it liquid, but it also helps it to absorb faster into your skin and hair. That's why I love using it. A lot of people think coconut oil clogs your pores. Thinking logically, I don't see how when it absorbs into your skin so easily and quickly. Even the normal coconut oil absorbs very, very quickly. Even if it does clog your pores, it's going to diffuse out into your skin eventually, pretty quickly. So I don't see a problem using it. I'm sure people are going to yell at me and, get all twisted about it, but that's my opinion. You're welcome to have your own opinion. Okay, last fix. Fix number 5 is the one that I found most helpful. That is focusing on hair length retention. And by using protective hairstyles. Hair length retention is we are keeping everything that has already grown. So we see that growth over time, protective hairstyles, it's just that, they protect your hair. Oftentimes when you look up protective hairstyles, you're going to find for natural, the thick curly hair, African style hair. And that's a lot of, box braids and cornrows, and that's protective for their hair type. But I'm going to do a video very soon on what constitutes as a protective hairstyle that works for all hair types. Anything from my stringy, fine, stick straight hair to the thick, curly hair. It works for all of them. That video will be up next, and I hope these tips helped you. I pray you have a blessed day.